In the heart of Las Vegas, where fortunes are made and lost in an instant, a group of college students quietly entered a casino, ready to take down the house and walk away with millions. They weren't just gambling, they were playing the game on their own terms, armed with nothing but brains and a daring plan. This is the story of the MIT Blackjack Team, a band of brilliant students and math enthusiasts who transformed blackjack into a high-stakes money-making machine. Their success wasn't about cheating. It was about mastering mathematics, strategy, and disciplined teamwork. They exploited the game's odds so effectively that casinos were left scrambling to change how they operated. "We didn't cheat," one member later explained. "We understood the game better than they did." But how did they pull it off? How did a group of college students use brain power to beat the system and win millions, all without breaking the law? Let's explore the fascinating mix of math, strategy, and teamwork that fueled one of the most daring and successful gambling operations in history. In the late 1970s, MIT was buzzed with brilliant minds, and John Chang was one of them, a promising student with a passion for mathematics. One day, he stumbled across Beat the Dealer by Edward Thorpe, a book that would alter his life forever. The book claimed that blackjack, a game of chance, could be beaten with the right mathematical strategy. Chang was intrigued, but skeptical. Could a player really turn the tables on the house? He decided to find out. Armed with Thorpe's theories, he practiced card counting, tracking probabilities with precision. Slowly, the results came. Blackjack wasn't just luck. It was probability in action. Predicting which cards would appear next meant outsmarting the casino and gaining a real edge. The system wasn't perfect, but it had potential. Chang saw an opportunity and began recruiting like-minded students, fellow math enthusiasts eager for the challenge. What began as a personal experiment was about to grow into a team operation, one destined to take on the world's most famous casinos. Imagine a group of brilliant minds, fresh from the halls of one of the most prestigious universities in the world. They are not your typical college students. They're the kind of people who see the world differently, who can break down a casino's game of chance and turn it into a mathematical equation. Together, they would become legends, rewriting the rules of blackjack with a combination of brilliance, strategy, and nerves of steel. Bill Kaplan, the visionary leader. Bill Kaplan was not just a man with a talent for math. He was a strategist at heart. With his Harvard MBA and an uncanny ability to read people and situations, Kaplan was the mastermind behind the MIT Blackjack Team. He wasn't interested in gambling for the thrill of winning. He was driven by something much deeper, the desire to create a well-oiled machine capable of making the impossible possible. His vision wasn't just about beating the odds. It was about outsmarting the house on a massive scale. "I was never interested in gambling for the sake of it," Kaplan once said. "I wanted to run this operation like a business, a well-funded business." Mickey Rosa, the executioner. Mickey Rosa wasn't just a member of the MIT Blackjack Team. He was the team's executioner. When it came to the field of play, no one was as sharp and as composed as Rosa. He was the kind of person who could keep a cool head even under intense pressure, blending into the casino environment like a shadow in the night. Rosa's skill wasn't just in card counting. It was in executing the plan flawlessly. He knew how to read the room, how to place his bets, and when to walk away. His role was vital. As one of the big players, he would swoop in and place massive bets only when the odds were stacked in their favor. His ability to manage the psychological aspects of the game, knowing when to be aggressive and when to lay low, made him an invaluable asset to the team. "You can't win if you don't know when to strike," Rosa once said, reflecting on his approach to blackjack. Jeff Ma, the quiet genius. If Bill Kaplan was the visionary, then Jeff Ma was the quiet genius behind the scenes. A master of probabilities and subtle calculations, Ma, a student at MIT, brought an analytical edge to the team that allowed them to execute their plans with precision. Though not as boisterous as Kaplan or Rosa, Ma's intelligence and discipline made him one of the most reliable members of the team. It was Ma who helped refine the team's strategies and made sure that everyone followed the mathematical principles that had been set in place. His ability to stay calm and stick to the system, even when the pressure was on, helped the team succeed time and again. "It's all about numbers," Ma explained. "The math doesn't lie. If you're patient, you will win." JJ, the master of disguise. What would a team of blackjack experts be without the ability to blend in with the crowd? Enter JJ, the master of disguise and the team's secret weapon in the casino environment. JJ was responsible for ensuring that the team didn't attract unwanted attention, whether by switching between different casino locations or changing their identities. His ability to play a part, whether it was a bumbling novice or a high-rolling gambler, helped the team avoid detection time and time again. In this game, it's not just about knowing the odds. It's about knowing when to act and when to remain invisible, JJ said, emphasizing the importance of stealth. Together, these individuals made up a team like no other, each bringing their own unique talents to the table. They weren't just students with a passion for blackjack. They were innovators, each playing a vital role in a carefully orchestrated plan that would take on the world's most sophisticated casinos. They had one goal in mind: to win, and to win big. They had no interest in simply taking home small winnings or being lucky. No, their mission was much more ambitious: to exploit the flaws in the system, to make a name for themselves in the gambling world, and to prove that intelligence could beat the house. The brilliance behind the MIT Blackjack Team's success didn't just lie in their ability to count cards. It was their systemic, almost business-like approach to an otherwise chaotic, unpredictable game. At its core, their strategy wasn't based on luck, but on mathematics, precision, and execution. The team implemented an advanced card-counting technique known as the high-low system, which is perhaps the most widely used system in blackjack. The high-low system is about understanding the ratio of high cards to low cards left in the deck. High cards, tens, jacks, queens, kings, and aces, are advantageous to the player because they increase the chances of getting a blackjack. Low cards, twos, threes, fours, fives, and sixes, benefit the house because they increase the likelihood that the dealer will bust. Here's how the high-low system worked. High cards, 10, jack, queen, king, and ace, are assigned a value of -1. Low cards, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, are assigned a value of +1. Neutral cards, 7, 8, and 9, are assigned a value of 0. By adding or subtracting the values of each card dealt, the team kept a running count of the deck. When the running count was positive, they knew that more high cards remained in the deck, giving them an advantage. When it was negative, it signified a deck rich in low cards, a situation that favored the house. It wasn't about memorizing the cards, it was about tracking the ratio between high and low cards as they were dealt. But here's where the team's genius came into play. The running count wasn't just for show. The real strategy lay in how they adjusted their bets based on the count. When the deck was favorable, they made large bets. When it wasn't, they kept their bets small. This wasn't random. It was a calculated move to tilt the odds in their favor. Counting cards might sound easy in theory, but it's an art form in practice. It's not just about keeping track of numbers, it's about discipline, concentration, and precision. The team had to maintain focus for hours on end while blending in with the casino environment. The true brilliance of their plan wasn't just the math, it was how they executed it seamlessly without drawing attention. Every member of the MIT Blackjack Team was trained not only in the art of counting cards, but also in how to act the part of a typical casino gambler. The last thing they wanted was to be seen as professionals. Instead, they perfected the art of appearing to be amateurs, pretending to be nervous or inexperienced at the table, so as not to raise any suspicions. When the deck became favorable, they would signal to one of their big players to enter the game. The big players were the ones who had the nerve to make high-stakes bets, sometimes risking thousands of dollars on a single hand, depending on the count. The spotters, who had been quietly watching the game from the sidelines, would watch the cards and communicate covertly with the big players, alerting them when the count was positive and the odds were in their favor. The power of the high-low system truly came into play through the teamwork behind it. The team didn't operate as individual gamblers. They worked like a well-oiled machine. Their roles were specific and organized. Spotters were responsible for observing the game and keeping track of the running count. They would sit at the blackjack tables pretending to be casual players, while calculating the count in their heads. When the count became favorable, they would signal to the big players. The signals were subtle, nothing that would attract attention, but enough for the big players to know when it was time to make their move. Big players. These were the team members who made the big bets. Once signaled by the spotter that the deck was in their favor, they would enter the game and start placing large bets. The key was not to place the large bets too early. The best time to strike was when the count was clearly in the player's favor and when there was enough of a cushion to minimize the risk of detection. The team also employed a careful rotation strategy. Spotters and big players would switch between tables and even between casinos. This rotation was crucial for staying undetected by casino security, who were on the lookout for patterns that might indicate card counting. In the early 1980s, the MIT Blackjack Team was ready to hit the casino circuit. They weren't just students looking for a fun weekend. They were a well-trained, highly organized group on a mission to take on the biggest names in the gambling world. Armed with their mathematical system and a perfect balance of teamwork and discipline, the team headed straight for Las Vegas, the world capital of casinos. Their first major test came during Super Bowl weekend, a time when Las Vegas casinos were packed with tourists and high rollers looking to place big bets. The MIT Blackjack Team saw it as the perfect opportunity to execute their system and prove that their method was more than just theory. They set up shop at multiple casinos, using their spotter big player system to track the cards and adjust their bets accordingly. One by one, they systematically approached tables, ensuring their spotters had the count under control before signaling the big players to enter. These big players, the team's heavy hitters, placed massive bets only when the odds were stacked in their favor. The results were immediate. Within one weekend, the team earned over $400,000, a remarkable achievement that was the culmination of months of practice, strategy, and flawless execution. Their success wasn't just about the math. It was about outsmarting the casinos. They knew how to blend in with the crowd, avoid drawing attention, and act like typical gamblers. Some pretended to be beginners, asking basic questions about the game, while others took on the persona of lucky amateurs, simply enjoying their time. But the team's brilliance wasn't only about winning. It was about defying the very system casinos had built. For years, casinos believed blackjack was a game of pure chance, with an unbeatable house edge. Now, a group of students had figured out how to turn those odds in their favor. As their winnings piled up, so did the attention they attracted. It wasn't long before the casinos started to take notice, and they weren't about to let a group of amateurs walk away with hundreds of thousands of dollars without a fight. For months, they had quietly raked in millions, but the more they won, the more the casinos began to notice. What had once seemed like a fluke was now a pattern, and the casinos started asking themselves, how could a group of seemingly amateur gamblers keep winning this much? In a world where losing a single hand could cost tens of thousands of dollars, the idea of a consistently winning strategy was a terrifying prospect for casinos. For years, blackjack had been seen as a game of pure chance. Now, the MIT Blackjack Team had proven that, with the right system, blackjack could be turned into a game of skill. This made the casinos nervous, and they responded with countermeasures. The first major line of defense was the blacklist. If a player was caught counting cards at one casino, their name would be flagged and shared across the network. This made it increasingly difficult for the team to move from one casino to the next without being detected. The vast network of casinos that once offered anonymity now felt like a prison. As the MIT team's notoriety grew, casinos ramped up their security measures. Surveillance cameras, once a minor part of casino security, were now equipped with the latest face recognition software, allowing the security teams to track the players in real time. The team's ability to blend in was diminishing, and every new casino felt like a risk. Even more disruptive were the automatic shuffling machines introduced at some casinos. These machines shuffled the cards after each round, eliminating the team's ability to track the deck's composition, a critical element of their strategy. What had once been an advantage was now gone, forcing the team to rethink their approach. The team knew they couldn't afford to sit back. As the casino defenses became more and more sophisticated, they adapted with even more creativity. They became masters of disguise, using aliases and fake identities to protect their true personas. Some pretended to be tourists. Others acted like inexperienced gamblers. One team member might pretend to be a jittery, nervous gambler, while another adopted the persona of a drunken player stumbling from table to table. They even wore wigs, fake mustaches, and glasses to throw off casino security. But it wasn't just about changing their appearance. It was about changing their behavior. They honed a subtle, nonverbal language of signals, ensuring they could communicate without raising suspicion. "We knew they were onto us," one team member said later, "but we had a strategy, and we stuck to it." The game had become a delicate cat-and-mouse affair. The casinos deployed their countermeasures, and the team responded with creativity. They didn't just play blackjack. They played the system, using deception, strategy, and intellect to stay in the game. Despite their ingenuity, the constant pressure was starting to take a toll. The team had to remain vigilant at all times. Every new casino meant new risks. Would this be the time they were caught? Would a face recognition scan end their run? And yet, despite the mounting pressure, the team continued to win. Their strategy was flawless, and they stuck to their plan. The risks were high, but so were the rewards. The stakes were rising. With each victory, the team became a bigger target. But for them, it wasn't just about the money. It was about proving a point. They weren't just playing blackjack, they were redefining what it meant to beat the system. With each new casino, the tension built, and the closer they got to being discovered, the greater their determination became. But the walls were closing in. The thrill of victory was now mixed with the fear of getting caught. The game was far from over, and the team had no intention of backing down. By the late 1980s, the MIT Blackjack Team had reached its peak, transforming blackjack into a mathematical art form and amassing millions from casinos around the world. Their system was flawless, their strategy seamless, and their teamwork unmatched. However, with such success came increasing scrutiny. Casinos could no longer dismiss their consistent wins as mere luck. Security measures tightened, surveillance technology advanced, and blacklists and facial recognition software made their disguises and aliases less effective. What was once a thrilling high-stakes game was now fraught with tension. The strain of operating under such pressure began to take its toll. Long hours, constant travel, and the relentless need to remain undetected led to internal conflict. Some members questioned the sustainability of their operation. Could they continue outsmarting an industry that was rapidly adapting to their methods? Tensions grew as personal lives were sacrificed and friendships began to fray. By the early 1990s, the original MIT Blackjack Team had largely disbanded. It wasn't the casinos that took them down, but internal disillusionment and near misses. As the once cohesive unit fractured, smaller offshoots struggled to maintain the same brilliance and unity. Nonetheless, the team's influence endured. Casinos worldwide reevaluated their approach, implementing automatic shufflers, facial recognition technology, and more undercover operations to spot potential card counters. The MIT team had forced the industry to evolve. Though the team's reign had ended, their legacy was permanent. The casinos may have won the battle, but the team had already won the war, forever changing how the game was played. The MIT Blackjack Team's story endures as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale. Their journey, from college classrooms to the bright lights of Las Vegas, had been immortalized in books, documentaries, and films like 21. Their ability to turn mathematics into a weapon against a multi-billion-dollar industry captivated the imagination of millions. But over time, casinos adapted. With advanced surveillance, automatic shuffling machines, and stricter player tracking, the window of opportunity for card counters has all but closed. The methods pioneered by the MIT team are no longer as practical, but their legacy transcends blackjack. They proved that with knowledge, discipline, and teamwork, even the most insurmountable odds can be beaten. As Bill Kaplan reflected years later, "We didn't cheat. We just figured out how to play the game better." It was this philosophy, rooted in fairness and intellect, that defined their success and inspired future generations. So, what do you think? The MIT Blackjack Team story is a reminder that the right strategy, backed by knowledge and teamwork, can defy even the most daunting challenges. They didn't just beat the game, they redefined it. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories of strategy, success, and innovation. Let us know in the comments what other legendary stories you'd like to hear. Thanks for watching. Until next time.